Professor Wilson, going for slides.
Okay, so we have a deer heart here, and what we're going to look at is actually, we want to look at some of the structure inside the heart to look at the tissues today. We'll take another look at some other parts, the valves and the larger functional structures, in another little video. One of the things you can notice, I don't know if you can see it very well on there, maybe, is that there's this very thin layer on the outside. Very thin.
It smells like an embalming.
Yeah, fairly sturdy. Okay, so this is the epicardial layer. It's got a layer of serous membrane, thin squamous epithelium, but then it's attached to a tougher layer of loose connective tissue. And you can see that you can peel that off, and it looks kind of like saran wrap. It's very thin. Very thin indeed. But pretty tough. That's the connective tissue that makes it tough. Okay, that gives support to the squamous epithelium on the outside. And underneath we see the cardiac muscle in here, or myocardium. I really want to take a slice out of this heart. I'm going to try and avoid valves because I want to show students the layers in the heart of the different kinds of tissues that are in here. So as we cut through here, what most people know and expect to see is some chambers or ventricles in the heart, and sure enough, what I can see here is two sections of two chambers. Okay, there's a chamber over here and a chamber over here. We call the opening in any structure in the body, we call it a lumen. Okay, and now I'm going to take another slice. I want to slice this kind of like a salami, or if you were making a slice of to put on a sandwich or to fry up or something, which, by the way, heart makes very good eating for those people that have never tried it. It's muscle, just like steak. Okay, and what I see when I hold this up is I can actually look right through there. Let me move this stuff out of the way so you see the blue, as if the opening, this lumen, was a window. Okay, and the word lumen means light. It comes from the Latin, and it's just, if you go look at light bulbs in the store and you look on the package, they'll tell you how many lumens each one produces, the degree of light that they can produce. So when you look at a structure on a slide or in a dissection and you can see light going through it and then tissue surrounding it, you call this the lumen. Your stomach has a lumen. Each blood vessel has a lumen. The place that the blood flows through is a lumen. Okay, and then on the larger scale, we're looking at the layers here. So on the outside of my heart, I would say that the outer layer, which is an epithelial and connective tissue layer, is the epicardium. There's another layer on the outside of that, on the cavity that surrounds the heart, called the pericardial cavity. And so sometimes we call that epicardium the visceral pericardium. This part right here is referred to as the myocardium, myo meaning muscle, so that's the muscle part. You can tell the left side of the heart from the right side of the heart because the left side has a much thicker wall. It has to have a higher pressure because it pumps a larger volume of blood a greater distance. The left side of the heart has to pump the blood to your systemic system. Your right side of the heart only has to pump to the lungs. If this side, the wall was as thick as if the right was as thick as the left, this would explode your lungs every time that it pumped blood to them. And we don't want that to happen. So this ventricle in the right side, the right ventricle, has a thinner wall, and the left ventricle has a thicker wall. We call it all that muscle that you see is myocardium. That's the part that makes good eating. And then the inner lining, there should be a very thin layer of, see if I can tease it off of here. Well, that won't work. Here we go. There should be a really thin layer, like saran wrap again, covering this inner layer. Simple squamous epithelium. And you can kind of see the clear, I don't know if you can see it very well in the picture, but you can kind of see this clear, thin layer that I can peel off of here. You can actually see right through it, like saran wrap. That is endocardium, endo meaning inside, because it lines the inside lining of the heart. It is a form of epithelium, epi meaning upon, thelial meaning nipple, technically, describes the location, on the surface. So epithelial tissues are on the surface of things. The only time that's an exception is with glands, but glands form from tissue that is on the surface, and so that's where they're derived from epithelium. So that's why we can still call them epithelium, because they grow from the surface inward. Okay. So that is about it for now. Hold on, I want to show you. I have a beef heart, interestingly enough. Here's a section of beef heart. Look how much thicker the myocardium is. I wanted to also demonstrate the difference in the texture, the appearance, the function, and the consistency of connective tissues. These white-colored strands, which are found inside hearts attached to the atrioventricular valves, here's a piece of valve, that's all connective tissue. Most of the connective tissues will look sort of a white color when you get any kind of accumulation of them anywhere. They can be clear to white colored and pretty tough. I can really yank on that. I can hang that heart. This stuff is very, very tough. It's the same thing your tendons and ligaments are made out of. As a matter of fact, these are called cordi tendini, meaning little tendinous cords that attach to those valves. And you want them to be pretty strong because you do not want your valve to pop back up into the upper chambers of your heart and prolapse. If you had a prolapsed mitral valve, it would mean these are either stretched out or they may be torn, and it's allowing the valve to flow the wrong direction instead of holding it in place, preventing it from going the opposite direction. So, and then the other tissue we have on here, fat. A lot of the internal organs, including the heart, have significant deposits of fat near or around them. It provides a great cushion, and it also provides a ready supply of energy for those organs. So you can see it also is white, but it's soft, and I can just smush it, whereas connective tissue is very tough. It's very much like Tyvek or strapping tape that you cannot tear, you have to cut. So there you go.